My name is Levi Lascsak, and I sold over 460 homes in the last 3.5 years, all free from YouTube without any ad spend, cold calling, or door knocking. And these are the 10 mistakes that I think you should try to avoid at all costs when you're starting out your YouTube channel. All right, number one is going to be no plan at all. Now look, there is something admirable about just getting started, and there's even a book that was written about this called Ready, Fire, Aim. You know, I believe in that to a certain extent, but at the same time, having a business plan in place, I believe will keep you on track, plus help you understand the progress and where you're at in a journey, especially when you don't have many metrics to base it off of. Now, the other thing is I'm not talking about analysis paralysis. So don't sit here and study absolutely everything you possibly can for the next 6 months or 1 year or 2 years before you get started. Don't use analysis to keep you from moving forward. But if you were ever to apply for a loan or try to raise money for a new venture, I mean, you are going to have to present some type of business plan to somebody if they plan to invest money in you. Now, if you plan to invest in yourself, why would you not create some sort of business plan for your own business so you know where you're going? And that's how most businesses start. And YouTube channels, social media, shouldn't be any different. And I think a lot of times people get started on social media, especially YouTube, and they're just like, okay, I'm gonna start making videos. Now, that was a massive mistake I made almost 10 years ago. I started a YouTube channel in 2011 whenever I was documenting a health journey. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'll just start creating some videos and I should probably go viral and then that'll be it, right? Too easy. But what happened was after a couple of videos I didn't get much traction at that time. I didn't get much engagement. I didn't have a purpose in place. I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing it for. And therefore I quit, right? Because I just didn't really understand what I was doing. And so take some time, sit down, actually build out your business plan. How many times do you plan to record each week? When do you plan to publish those videos? What's the content you plan to make over the next 6 to 12 months? And yes, you should be planned out that far in advance. And there's so many other factors that you can add into that it's very important that you have a true understanding so that you know that you are on pace with your business plan as you go along. All right, number two is going to be knowing your specific audience. You need to speak to one avatar and you need to understand who that person is exactly. You need to lay that out. Actually communicate to yourself. Take some time, write this down. Who is this person you're communicating to? Now, when it comes to real estate, you know, we've attracted a lot of relocation clients and nothing wrong with that. They're actually our favorite clients to work with. But if you start trying to talk to relocation, first-time home buyers, veterans, sellers, all of that is really, truly a different market. So in my conversations with people all the time is, who is your ideal target audience? This also comes in effect when people speak two different languages. I just spoke with somebody recently that's trying to do Spanish and English videos on their channel, and their Spanish videos are already starting to overtake the English ones. But the main goal is that you don't want people skipping videos on your channel. So if you start talking to sellers in one video, buyers in the next video, relocation in one video, locals in the next video, that gives reason for people to skip your videos. So ultimately, you want to determine one type of audience, who you're specifically going to speak to, and if you want to go outside of that or speak to other people, you might want to consider other channels. Now, if you speak another language, in particularly Spanish or Portuguese or Italian or Chinese, those are really niched down and they're underserved markets right now on YouTube. So we are seeing people with a lot more success starting a channel in their native language and getting a lot more traction. So I would probably start there first and then maybe have an English channel later on down the road. All right, number three is going to be your call to action. Of course, you want to know exactly what you want from your channel. Do you want more subscribers? Do you want more views? Do you want more shares? Do you want phone calls? You know, for me in the channel, I determined early on that I wanted phone calls, period. That's all I really cared about. Views, subscribers, those types of things didn't really matter to me. Although, yes, the more views and the more subscribers you get, actually views can correlate to more phone calls. So views are pretty important. But in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of views and you start getting phone calls, that's the most important thing. And for me, generating business is always going to be more important than anything else. Now, subscribers we have seen have not really been that big of a metric whenever it comes to generating business or correlating to views, but it is a nice vanity metric to have once you reach that 1,000 subs. That's always pretty cool to get that little K by your name. And then when you break 5,000 and 10,000 and 15,000, those benchmarks are always fun to achieve. achieve. So those are more what we would call a vanity metric that don't necessarily correlate directly to phone calls. But for us, we know the amount of views that we get can correlate to phone calls, but also it can be skewed by certain market factors, interest rates, home prices, those types of things. Anytime we've seen interest rates start to creep down, our phone calls have gone up. In the meantime, views is a consistent metric that we can look at that directly correlates to phone calls. But ultimately, there is a couple of rules of thought out there that you don't need to do calls to action. You don't need to introduce yourself. You don't need to do certain types of things. You just need to gain the views, and that will lead to more phone calls. And I do believe in that as well. And I know that works for some people. I know for us, having a direct call to action, asking people to reach out so we can help them make their move has worked well for us. Again, 460 homes in the last 3.5 years. I mean, that's quite significant when you break that down, especially when we haven't spent any money on ads. Now, Daryl Eves, who wrote YouTube Formula, I had a conversation with him, and he's told me not to worry about that type of thing. Just get people to watch the next video, and ultimately that will lead to what you want. So I do believe in that as well, and I just figured, well, why not have a call to action and ask people to watch the next video? Maybe at the end. I can have a call to action to give us a call at the beginning. I could have call to action for people to watch the next video at the end. Either way, if we provide the right type of value in the video, people should want to watch the next video regardless. But going back to the last point, I want to make sure that people are not skipping videos. So therefore, I want to make sure that my videos are in alignment with the ideal viewer that I'm trying to serve.
Hey, you should check out my new community for free. It's where I host all of my more in-depth trainings, and you're going to get access to step-by-step courses showing you how to get buyer and seller leads for your business using passive prospecting, a supportive community of over 1,300 members, and weekly group coaching sessions you can attend and ask questions. Now, this community is all about passive prospecting and getting quality buyer and seller leads through YouTube without spending a penny on ads or cold calling. Now, the link is in the description below, so make sure you join for free today and say hi to me when you get in the community. I look forward to seeing you there.
All right, number 4 is not recording enough videos. So you need to really record as much as possible in the beginning. What I always recommend is record a month's worth of content before you ever publish that first video. And the reason being is because let's say you want to publish 2 videos a week. That is 8 videos. You should have those already edited and scheduled before you ever hit publish on that first video. And what I like to do as well is recommend to people that you record your first 1 to 2 videos first, get those edited, whether you're doing that or you have somebody else doing that, which I don't recommend you do that yourself because that's a huge waste of time in my opinion. But record your first 1 to 2 videos, get those edited as quickly as possible, and see the finished product. The reason for that is because once you see the finished product of a video, it helps you understand how to make better videos going forward. Plus, it helps you realize that it's not really that big of a deal if you mess up or you say, or have a long pause if the editor is going to cut that out. Plus, when you start and stop with certain clips, the editor just molds all that together and it just looks like you have one seamless video. Something I always encourage people is that, look, you're not making a 20-minute video. You might be making 10 2-minute videos, and then those get edited together to give you a 20-minute video. So really, if you can talk about a particular topic for 1 to 2 minutes, and maybe you have 5 to 10 topics, that's easily a 10 to 20-minute video. So don't think about it as, oh, I've got to sit down and make an entire 20-minute video. I just need to make some clips to get my point across for each bullet point that I have. That will get edited together, but I need to see that finished product first before I really truly understand the magic in making videos and the editing process. And your editor can make you look 100 times better than you ever expected, trust me. So the main thing is record a couple of videos, get those edited, come back, and then go ahead and knock out your next videos for however much content you want to produce for your first month, and get that all done before you ever publish. Because if you don't, that leads into mistake number 5, which is recording one video, getting that edited, and then publishing that video, okay? And I've seen this time and time again. People get very excited in the beginning. They're like, yes, I recorded a video, got that edited, great, let's publish that as fast as possible. And then guess what? They don't have the second or third or fourth one recorded or ready to go. And then you're scrambling, and then you're sitting there with a lot more pressure on you because you published that first one and you're like, oh, okay, wait, now I need to record another one, get that edited and get that uploaded. And then guess what happens? Life happens, health happens, real estate happens, family happens. And if you delay a week or 2 or 3 before you publish that next video, that could kill your channel quicker than anything. And so ideally, going back to point number 4 of not having enough videos recorded, that That's the idea, is that everything's ready to go so you can publish that first video and everything else is already scheduled out for the next month. And guess what that allows you to do? That allows you to start making your content for the following month, and you'll be a month ahead on your content. So if you just have a little bit of patience and record your content first for the first month and then get that ready to be scheduled and published, then you can automatically start working on next month's content. And it gives you a nice buffer and relieves a lot of pressure in case anything comes up and happens. So if life or health or real estate or family does happen and you get delayed or you can't record for a week or two, guess what? You'll still be 2 to 3 weeks ahead on your content. So it gives you a buffer. This is really great for going out of town, traveling, on vacation. Actually, myself coming up, I've doubled down on content this week because the next 2 weeks I have events that I'm conducting and attending for the entire week. And so I can't really make content during the week. And then we're going out of town. We're actually going to Spain for 2 weeks. And so I don't want to mess around with making content while I'm in Spain. So I'm going to just double up on the content, get it recorded. It's all going to be scheduled out. And actually I've recorded enough for even the month whenever we come back. So whenever I come back, I'm not struggling or fighting or pressured to just make a video automatically. Like I could come back and actually relax for the week, get over the jet lag, or get over all the fine Spanish wine I'll probably enjoy while I'm over in Spain. So, that's the case, is I don't want to be burdened by that whenever I come back in and have that in my face. So staying ahead on content is going to be a game changer for me. And you don't want to sit there and live video to video. If you've ever lived paycheck to paycheck, it's kind of the same concept if you're making videos and you start living from video to video. It's a lot of pressure. You're always kind of working behind the 8 ball, and it's just unnecessary.
Hey, real quick, if you're thinking about changing brokerages or you're brand new and you're thinking about choosing a brokerage, well, Travis and I would love to talk to you about partnering with us at EXP. You'll get access to all of our coaching, training, and courses at no cost, but mainly we want to see if we're a good fit for each other. So just check the description below and you can book a call with myself and Travis, and we look forward to speaking with you.
All right, number 6 mistake to avoid is not time blocking, not making this a priority, not setting this in your schedule, hopefully the same time every single week. Now for me, my community days, my vlog tours are on Wednesdays. I go out in neighborhoods on Wednesdays. It's very low traffic in new construction communities. There's usually not a lot of people out on Wednesdays looking at homes, so I can get in and get out undisturbed. But that is time blocked. It's a non-negotiable. Every single Wednesday, I'm going to be out in the community. And for any reason, if it's really bad weather or raining or something, then maybe I might do an office video or two at that time. So I've always got some options and some alternatives. But if Wednesday doesn't work for you, look at Tuesday afternoon. Maybe you have to go out on a Saturday. Maybe if you're out showing homes in a neighborhood, you need to stay an hour or two later in that neighborhood. Once your client leaves, you stay behind, and that's when you do your filming. But otherwise, if you can't commit to the same time each week on filming your content, then every single Sunday night, you need to sit down and look at your schedule for the whole week and say, okay, where are my gaps? Where can I fit this in? And you should have your entire week completely planned out. Every spot should be filled in so that you're not wondering, because when you have emptiness on your calendar, at least for me, I get a little lost. Now, the thing is that I've got these little sticky notes on my desk, these little individual sticky notes, and this is kind of like my punch list. So, for some reason, I have a meeting, it gets canceled, it ends early, I have an interview, I have a podcast, whatever the case may be, an appearance. I call this my non-priority punch list, is all this is. And so these are things that I need to get done, but they're not a huge priority. And therefore, if I have a gap in my calendar, or again, somebody cancels or I finish something early, I can go there and say, okay, what do I need to knock out? But otherwise, my week is scheduled out practically from bell to bell, and I include in their content. And whenever that's blocked out, if somebody asks me to do something, I will say, I actually have another appointment at that time. Can we find a different time? And that's it. It's really that simple. Same thing with clients. You have to understand the reason you have clients right now is because you're making content. So if you allow content to suffer because you're serving clients, guess what? You're going to hit a snag. You're going to hit a lull. You're going to have a gap to where you're going to have to build back up again. You want to keep momentum with content. If you tell a client, hey, I've already got something scheduled, I wouldn't say, oh, by the way, well, I can't, I'm filming that day. I would just say, hey, I've already got another appointment at that time. Do you have some time that afternoon or the following morning? Every single time they've always said, yeah, sure, no problem. So make time blocking a non-negotiable, because those that don't time block can get themselves in trouble. All right, number 7 is not being consistent, and consistency is key. Probably one of the biggest key factors I've seen, if not the key factor to all success across all industries. I mean, if you think about it, it's time on task over time. And yes, are there a couple of overnight successes? Maybe, but very few and far between. The old joke is it took me 15 years to be an overnight success, or it took me 20 years to be an overnight success. What a lot of people notice is today's success. They don't see all of the hard work and the behind the scenes efforts that has gone on over the past months or years or decades to get this person to where they're at. So that comes through consistency. And even if you're not good at something, you're not good at recording or being on camera or whatever the case may be, when you start doing that over and over and over again, muscle memory, it becomes video muscle memory. And so you will get better over time if you stay consistent at it, and things compound. You know, the small things matter and things compound over time. And so not being consistent is a massive mistake, because a lot of people don't take this too seriously, or they think they can just wing it. And creating content is a part of your business. It should be a part of your business going forward. I mean, I don't see how you survive in this day and age moving forward. And especially whenever AI comes into effect, it's going to be even more important than ever to start creating that type of content. But more importantly is you have to be consistent. I think that's very important for your clients to see as well. I think a lot of us get vetted by social media these days. And so if a client decides to reach out to you, they might go and vet you on social media. You know, if another agent wants to refer business to you, they might go and vet you on social media, and they might say, oh, this guy or girl hasn't even posted in 2 months. Are they still alive? Is everything okay? Are they still in the business? This is what people start thinking about if they don't see you consistent on social media. So to me, social media is kind of like a resume as well. But not only is this where people are finding us and reaching out to us in the first place, and could they find an older video and reach out? Yes. But if they go back and they say, well, man, this person hasn't even made content for the last couple of months, I'm not even sure they exist anymore. And that's what some people may think. So you want to avoid that mistake. Stay consistent. Find a cadence that works for you. If you know you will commit to 1 video a week, do 1 video a week. If you can do 2, do 2. If you can do 3, do 3. But the main thing is that understand what you have time and are willing to commit and stick with. That is the key factor, because if you say, well, I'm going to do 3 videos a week, and then all of a sudden you get burnt out after a month, that's not great. And I've had plenty of people that I've worked with that has said, you know what, I only have time for 1 video a week. Now, it may take longer for me to generate some leads and some business, but I'm okay with that because I'm going to commit to this and stay consistent. And that's where success will happen at some point in time, sometimes sooner for other people, sometimes later for other people. All right, number 8 mistake to avoid is not relaxing, not being you, okay? This is okay. This is just making videos. That's it. This isn't rocket science. You're not traveling to the moon. You know, one of my favorite books is An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth. And he said, you know, one of the things as an astronaut that you learn to do is how not to die 1,000 different ways. Basically, they think of all the ways that you could die, either on takeoff, in space, or returning back to Earth. And then they have to reverse engineer all of that, all of those scenarios, and say, okay, we could die this way, so how do we not die that way? And so that's pretty extreme. That is rocket science, by the way. But here we're just making videos. So the thing is that you got to have fun with it, and then also realize that if you can sit down and make phone calls for 2 hours a day, or go out and door knock for 2 hours a day, or go to networking events for 2 hours at a time and shake hands and kiss babies, what's the big deal about sitting down and recording 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes of content in a sitting? Are you by yourself? Yeah, maybe so. But if that's a problem for you, see if you can get somebody to just sit in the room if that makes you more comfortable. Me personally, I like to be distraction free whenever I'm making my content, just like right now, by myself, and it's just me and the camera. That's it. Me and the camera have become really good friends now, and so I now look at this camera as, you know, talking directly to you. And I can imagine you sitting right on the other side of the screen right now, watching this video, writing down, taking notes, and actually thinking, wow, this is great information, you know, and you're grateful that somebody took time to provide this information for you. So if you think about what you're doing, you're actually providing a very valuable service for somebody. And if you don't make this about you, you make it about who you are serving, and you know the benefits that they are going to get out of it. Plus, you know that once you sit down and actually take the 20 or 30 minutes it takes to make a video, that video is going to go on and passively prospect for you nonstop, practically for the rest of your life, your real estate career, as long as your channel exists, whatever the case may be. be, that video is going to go to work for you. And when you make another video and another one, now you've just created another one of you and another one and another one and another one. So if you've ever said, I wish there was just more of me, make a video and now you've got 2 of you. Make another video and now you have 3 of you. Make another video and now you have 4 of you out there passively prospecting for you, not just 24/7, but in a compound effect. All right, number 9 is not engaging with your audience. Comments, engagement, very important on your channel early on, because guess what? You're not going to get a lot of it initially. So make sure you take time to look at your comments every single day. It used to be the first thing I would do every single morning. I still do it to this day, just not as much as I did before, because my goal every day was to clear out my comments, to make sure I answered and replied to every single one. And I'm gonna give you a simple formula, which is acknowledge, ask a question, and then acknowledge call to action. There have been many times that I've converted comments into clients. So comments do a couple of things for you. Number 1, they give you a great pulse on your viewer, on your ideal avatar, on your ideal client. They're asking the questions, they're making statements, providing observations, and these are things that can help you create better content. On top of that, if they're asking questions, these are usually buying or selling questions, and therefore you need to acknowledge. So if they say something, acknowledge it, and then ask a question, okay? Usually I like to ask, like, where do you live? Or when are you thinking about, just depending on what the question is, but my go-to is usually, where do you live? Hey, that's awesome, thank you for sharing. So whenever I say, hey, that's awesome, thank you for sharing, that's acknowledgement. Then I'm gonna ask a question, where do you live now? And I'm trying to figure out, are they local? Are they out of state? What's going on? What's the case? And then whenever they reply, then I'm gonna follow back up and I'm going to acknowledge call to action. So I'll say, oh, amazing, happy to hear that. Now, if I need more conversation, I'll go for more conversation. But usually with buying questions or selling questions, I can do an acknowledgement and a call to action. Hey, why don't you go ahead and give us a quick call? We'll be happy to help you out. So that's what I mean by a call to action, like asking them or telling them directly what to do next. All right, and the number 10 mistake you can make is not getting involved in a community like the passive prospecting community. And actually, if you go to the description below, you can get a free trial and access to our passive prospecting community. And this is where you will have access to a lot of other people that are on the same mission and journey as you, and it's best to be in rooms of like-minded individuals. On top of that, we do coachings and trainings in there. We do Zoom calls, group coaching calls, that you can be a part of in that community. You can ask questions, there's resources, there's training, there's coursework, all of that. And you get a free trial because you're watching this video, it's in the description below. But get around like-minded people, people that are on the same mission, on the same path, that are motivated, that are positive, that are looking to achieve the same goal as you. And yeah, you might find somebody in your city, but this should help you keep a close eye on them as well. And then also, for me, I've always looked at what other people are doing, and even if they're in my own city, it doesn't matter to me. I don't consider that competition, because there's only one me and there's only one you. So always look at, how can I do things differently? Can I do it better? Can I beat them? Not from an ego standpoint, but just from more of a competition, and can I actually do something a little bit better? So if I see their content or their videos, I might say, oh, okay, how could I do that differently? How can I adjust that to fit my personality? How could I change this up a little bit? But ultimately, I work off of my ideas and my viewers and the comments. Going back to the last point, is that if I'm reading comments, that's going to help fuel, as I get more and more of those comments, it's going to help me continually improve my channel and think of new ways to better serve my audience. And those are the 10 mistakes that I wish I could have avoided starting on earlier in my journey. So hopefully that will help you out. And you can also watch the next video. This should help you out on your passive prospecting journey.